wanted to talk about waiting to have sex and why women should wait to have sex. Did you want to elaborate a bit on that? Or how long?
Yeah, so I think if you're looking for a serious relationship, I think it's better to wait. And I mean, I guess there's no specific time. I would say like at least a month, preferably longer than that. But until you guys have like a solid emotional bond, and then moving forward with that, because just from experience, it always sucks to...
Killer of Cereal donated $69. Opportunity to swindle men into giving you money for sexual motive will always exist. What other skills do you currently possess that you could use for another job? No breaks. Your resume says what?
You two real quick if you want to answer.
Well, Killa, you made a good point that I can always use my swindling skills, as you call them, swindling, to get men to give me money, and I really don't need anything else on my resume if that is true.
You're funny.
Yeah, as far as like marketable skills, like honestly, I went to 3 years of art school and then dropped out. I have some experience in retail and things like that, but...
Wait, you went to art school and then you dropped out?
I did, because of COVID.
Wow, we got a real Hitler on our hands over here.
Is that when you went into porn after that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but I'd been dancing in art school, and just, you know, it was just always kind of the lifestyle I wanted.
Yeah.
So other than sex, no marketable skills?
The swindling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she says the
talking.
swindling would also require sex, right? Because she said I would swindle men using my sexuality, right?
Yeah, and well, I was saying, like,
Yeah,
Killa
so
Cereal said that I'll
absent
always
anything
be able
sexual,
to do
what are the
that.
skills?
I'll always be able to do that, so I'm not worried about having other skills.
Yeah, but assuming you
I'm
can use
very
sexuality,
techno-
that's the point of the
I'm
question.
sure she saved enough money too. I don't think
I've
she'd
saved
need
a lot
to
of
work.
money. I'm very business savvy. I'm very technologically savvy.
Doge?
I run my own,
Some crypto.
live streams and things like that. And Chatterbait, I do my own photography, videography, editing. So if ever, you know, I did want to be in front of the camera, there's so many roles in this industry
Your
behind the
response to
camera.
the TTS?
I do think people like underestimate how many like the skill set it actually takes to do the job. It's a lot more than just like using your body.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wish that's all it took, you know, but I'm more than just a whole. So, I have experience like before I ever did that with like working with children, old people, animals. I also am really good at sales. I feel like I could go into something like high ticket sales or just like, I don't know. There's like endless things you could do. I don't feel like I'm that limited.
Let's go back to this, though. You said women should wait to have sex. You were saying a month at minimum, maybe longer.
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of up to your own discretion, but I think you're at a good spot when the man is not pressuring you to have sex. At that point, I mean, if a man is, for example, going to say like, oh, if you don't have sex with me, then we're not, like, I'm not going to continue seeing you or whatever. Like having sex just to shut him up
That's
or
valid,
keep
right?
him.
Don't you think that's valid?
So
not
Flo
the
Ack
beginning.
954
I'll explain.
donated $69.
Thank you, SoFlo.
Cheaters gone cheat. If you can't stand the heat, stay out the kitchen.
Thank you, man.
Move on, plenty of fish in the sea. Stay off the knees and expect chivalry from these.
Oh, fucking
Boys to
Shakespeare.
men, foes and friends.
Some Shakespeare from SoFlo
Aren't
Shakespeare.
didn't you say that
was
you're
beautiful,
a
man.
Christian? Mm-hmm. So why would you tell girls to just wait at least a month before having sex with somebody?
Well, not everyone is going to.
Oh,
Minnesota Wise Man donated $69. That's a great start, Maddie. Love it. Your turn, Gustavo. Public shaming and embarrassment in any way. Perfect way to cancel the next wave of MF'd degeneracy. It's the humane thing to do. Hashtag wokefolk. Rock on gesture.
Gerald.
Just Gerald donated
Thank you.
$69.
Thank you, Minnesota Wise Man, also.
For all
Thank
your
you.
recommendations, I leave you with this. Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. The Three Body Problem Trilogy, kicks in lieu. Sleep well, panel. Good night.
Yo, good night.
Thank you so much for all the
Gerald.
super chats, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
What was the question?
You were asking her.
Yeah. So earlier you had said that you're a Christian, and then you're now like trying to give advice, saying like, oh, if you want to sleep with somebody, you should wait until you've at least known them for a month or have an emotional connection with them.
Not if you're trying to sleep with somebody. It's more for women who are looking for a serious relationship. Not everyone is going to be a Christian. I guess I'm just as a blanket statement for women that are looking for a relationship, you know, if a don't sleep with a guy so soon, I guess is what I'm just trying to say.
Yeah.
Do you think it's
But-
okay for a guy to move things along, though, if the girl's not willing to sleep with him? I think that's, like, for me, I think that's a perfectly valid reason. If the guy wants sex, she doesn't, he can just dump her, or just move along.
Well, yeah, and that's obviously something you want to talk about. Like, I'm not saying you have to wait forever, but it's more so like if the guy is, only interested in you for sex, that they'll be fished out pretty quickly because they'll make it known.
Well, a lot of men will lie about that. Like they
Yeah.
want you for sex, but they'll lie and say they want a relationship, or
Sure.
Yeah.
and then
and so
the second you sleep with them,
it'll
they're
be
gone.
tested by time, essentially.
That's wrong. Yeah, and I think it's wrong for men to lie about their intentions. But I guess the dilemma is, right, on one hand, I suppose it's always better to be moving in a better direction when it comes to that. But like for me personally, I'm not waiting until marriage. I'm not really particularly inclined to wait long. I am desirous of a long-term relationship. That's always, for the most part, been my preference when it comes to dating. I have really no interest in sleeping with a girl once, try to get her and then sleep with her once and then that's it. If I sleep with her, I want there to be continuity. I want to continue seeing her, but I don't have any sort of like, well, we need to wait some arbitrary set period of time. Now, if there might be a bit more leeway, for example, if she's a virgin or her standard with all the prior men she's been with was, I'm going to wait X period of time until we're in a relationship, until we're committed, whatever. But if she had 10, 20 previous sexual partners and she slept with all of them relatively quickly, and then she lands on me, and now she wants to wait 3 months, she wants to wait until marriage.
Well, there is no there is no arbitrary
That's
amount
crazy.
of time. It really is just until you feel like you have a solid foundation other than sex, I guess. And that could be, it's different for every relationship, and that's something that you would want to
can be
communicate.
fooled. You can be fooled. Like a guy could just be telling you what you want to hear. And so I think it would be better to encourage women to like pursue purity and to pursue like understanding their value and valuing what they have and waiting for
Well,
somebody.
chastity, right?
Yeah, and
Pursue chastity.
And so my fear in like saying that to a girl is that she's going to be let down and then she's going to go through another heartbreak, right? Because you have an attachment with somebody that you have sex with. And I don't think that that's good advice to be giving somebody.
Well, I think that she's just trying to be
advice is she
realistic
giving?
because that's like, that's not like the norm for like everybody.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Not everyone is going to have Christian values and wait
Yeah,
until
but
marriage.
there-
So
but
at the
there's
very
still
but
an
you have
aspect
Christian
of-
values.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
Christian values, and there's still like a right way to go about life. And I believe as a Christian, we know what that is. We know that the way that Jesus says to live, the way that the Bible calls us to live, is to have abundant life.
Wait, are you waiting until marriage with your next guy?
Oh yeah, I don't want to.
You're not going to have sex before
I
marriage?
don't want to have any kind
Uh-oh.
of sexual.
Well,
no,
hold on.
I'm not. What do you guys call it?
Hold on. Let me ask you a question, though. Hold on. How long have you had this position that you're waiting until marriage?
Well, my whole life I've,
Well,
but
hold
have
on.
I followed that? No.
but your first boyfriend wasn't the case. That sounded like an incredibly toxic relationship. Then you were celibate for 5 years. Then you met this guy who wasn't even a Christian, and it sounded like you went on a couple dates, slept with him a couple times. You ended things. As recently as a month ago, you were, despite knowing that he's not a Christian, you were, as recently as a month ago, in communications with him. I suspect if you had met up with him, you would have had sex with him. Is that fair to say? If you were to have met up with him again, is it fair to say you would have had sex?
No.
Why else would you meet up with him then?
I don't think that I would have had sex with him.
Why would you meet up with him then? For what other reason?
The emotional connection.
What do you think his
Yeah.
motivation would have been to meet up with you?
Probably that.
Okay. When you were texting him, did you explicitly state, hey, change of plans, I'm not going to have sex with you? Did you tell him that?
Yeah, he knew where my
Oh, that's
stance
why he
was
flaked on you
that.
then, probably.
Oh, okay.
Non-Christian man.
Yeah. What was your point in saying all that?
Well, I'm just a little confused because, like, you say your standard is you want to wait until marriage, but the two men that
Yeah,
you
because
were
I
into-
understand the value of it, and I understand every time I don't follow it, it's worse for me.
Right, but like I feel like a Christian man that would be inclined to date you, who perhaps would be willing to wait until marriage, it would be a little, I don't know what the right word is here, a little disheartening for him to hear that as recently as a month ago, you were trying to solicit I assume, date or meet up with a man who's not a Christian, who you've previously had sexual intercourse with. That would, to me, would make me kind of question your motivations.
I mean, the temptation is natural.
She's not claiming to be perfect. She's
Sure.
not claiming to
Yeah.
never have been tempted in her life.
Yeah.
And sometimes we even give into that, but it's a natural double-mindedness, like the flesh versus the spirit. And so I think what she's trying to say is, even though she is a Christian, she follows Christ.
Here.
It's
Yeah,
not always. It's not always like I'm going to be perfect.
Sure.
All the time.
Yes, people make mistakes.
I'm
Absolutely.
honestly
I guess.
impressed
I'm sorry
that
for
you've been
speaking for you.
celibate for
Maybe
so
that's not
long.
true
I
for
think
you.
that's impressive that you've
Yes,
resisted
I
that.
will grant you that. The fact that you were celibate for 5 years and then another 2 years, and you claim your body count's only 2. That's commendable, at least compared to your peers of your same age. But it seems like, let's say there was a Christian guy, but he's not inclined to wait for marriage. I mean, I feel like he'd be getting a bit of a raw deal to learn that as recently as a month ago, you were soliciting at least at minimum, a romantic hangout with a man who you had previously had sexual intercourse with. And I mean, it's very likely that you could have fallen into temptation and had sex with him.
Yeah, it's probably likely.
It's likely that you would have had sex with him.
Then
Well-
God's
Had you
protecting
met-
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
Okay.
too. But yeah, I think that just because you mess up doesn't mean you still shouldn't strive to be better, try to be pure, try to be those things. And there's forgiveness and
Sure.
I totally, but that's just the reality of like my sin and my mistake and my not following like what I know to be true and what I know to be right.
Mm-hmm.
And like you just have to take it or leave it. Like if that's too much for somebody, then that's too much for somebody.
Well, I
Which
think
is why you should try to value what you have even more.
I think one of the issues is I mean, there are women who will kind of claim that they want to wait. They meet a guy, they've had 10 previous sexual partners, they slept with all those men relatively quickly, and then they land on you and they claim to really like you, but then they're wanting to make you wait for sex, even if you're desirous of a long-term relationship
Because
with them, and you're desirous of,
You
but
could
you're
look at it
desirous
from a
of having
different
sex with them.
perspective. Like maybe it clearly didn't work out with the last dudes that someone slept with, and they don't want to follow that same formula because they really like you and they don't want to mess it up, and there's different ultimately it would be coming from that place because you care about the relationship. Does that make any sense?
So you reward the fuckboys who will never give you commitment with immediate sex, and you punish the men who are worthy of a relationship
Is that a
by
punishment?
making them wait weeks, months, or even until marriage.
Well, you also don't know
to
what
have
they've been
sex?
through. What if they got pregnant and STD? Like
What?
you don't know their
That's not
sexual
a
history
punishment.
How's that relevant?
because they're traumatized and maybe they're like scared to have
I
sex.
don't know how
now.
that's relevant. What do you mean?
It's not necessarily a punishment.
What if he's desirous of having sex?
Well, that would make
Then
sense.
he should date
that-
someone else
yeah,
who's
that-
desirous
Sure.
of
Well,
having
yes, I
sex.
agree. I
If
agree.
you
He's
like them
punishing
too, then
himself
maybe
by
you're down
dating
to
somebody
wait.
who doesn't want the same things that he wants. He's punishing
Exactly.
himself. He's putting himself in that position.
Exactly.
Well, but hold
He's
on.
more than welcome to
relationship is a
move
choice
on
between
and
two
go.
people.
go
The
yeah.
cat's kind of already out the bag. You're no longer a virgin. You've had a promiscuous past. Look, I suppose
What should I do differently, you think?
Well, okay,
he's going to push back on this.
I have to. Brian, let us assume for a second that a man murders another man. The cat's already out of the bag. He's already done it. Should he just keep on going, or
Nice try, Brian.
No, he should not continue murdering.
then why not though? But he's already done it.
So what advice would
Yeah, it's
you,
unfair
Brian,
to
give
other
to
people he
women
doesn't
who
murder.
have previously had intercourse before marriage but want to turn their life around? What advice would you give them to go about that without, for lack of a better word, offending the man?
So I mean, look, here's a bit of my criticism. I think it's fair for men to be skeptical. Is kind of where I'm going with this. Is it really how you feel, or are you just using it as leverage to secure a long-term relationship? Because where I get skeptical is that one, are you actually attracted to the guy to begin with? Or are you you feel like you're settling and then, you're just not really that attracted to him, but time's ticking, time's running out. Okay, here's a nice provider, nice guy. Okay, I'm going to make him wait until marriage. Boom, boom, boom. Then like all those guys who like hit it within the first 2 hours, whatever, you're going to be thinking about them and they pleased you better sexually, whatever it may be. And then it just makes for just a terrible relationship.
That's a very niche scenario.
Yeah.
I think
Well, wait. Hang on. So I did back you guys up on this because me and Brian do have, it's one of the things we do have a fundamental disagreement on, but he is right about this in this sense. And I'd like to actually see you refute it. Christianity has become a safe haven for reformed prostitutes who then move in and say, oh, well, now I'm going to be chaste and I'm going to follow all of the criteria which is required for a Christian. I'm a good girl now, right? I'm a good girl now. And it's used as a form of camouflage in order to attract a mate later in life. And you just say, hey, I'm reformed, so you can't hold that against me. And that's what his point is a red flag. He's saying this is a massive red flag for men. And why wouldn't it be a red flag for men that suddenly your behavior massively changes, sometimes overnight? Shouldn't men be skeptical?
Not the right men.
I don't really think
I think
that's
it's
the
okay.
What do you
case
mean
for
not the
us
wait?
men.
Why do you mean not the
It's
right
okay
man?
to be skeptical. He probably should be skeptical because he needs to figure out if I'm somebody that he would want to be with,
Or if you're being genuine
or
about
if
your
I'm being
change.
genuine, or if I'm like
But
Yeah, so it's a massive
So
red
Flo
flag,
Act
right?
954 donated $69. On the first date, I'm going in for the kiss. After the third date, if we ain't acting like apes under silky drapes, shoo fly. I'm not the dinner date kind of guy being used by 304s as a wink in the eyes.
Beautiful.
that was good.
Actually.
It's just
That was good.
it's a skepticism thing. Like, okay, because there's this thing where maybe we pull up the flower cuck meme, Nick, the censored one if you can. It's like, okay, last 20 guys, you hooked up, first date, then you come along, oh, wait till marriage or wait 3 months, and then maybe the guy does it. He does all the right things, courts you, blah, blah, blah. Let's say you break up with that guy. I hear plenty of stories where the guy will do the right thing, wait, whatever, and then that girl, after they break up, rebound, fucks a guy within 24 hours of meeting him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was never actually a genuine standard.
Yeah.
You just use this like, you're basically playing a game. You're
yeah,
manipulating.
or they're just immature, and maybe it was there's a part of them that means it.
You got it, Nick? Yeah. Here's the meme, right? Okay, this is what it is. Okay, maybe put us on the corner or something. Put us on the corner. This is the meme. Oh, you're gonna what? Do you want to be the guy
That is
who's got
so
the
bad.
flowers, and do you want to be that guy?
What message
I don't want
are
to
you
be. I
sending?
don't want to
No,
be
I
any.
don't-
Of that.
I
I don't
don't
want to
think
be any
that-
of those men.
I
to
don't,
be
yeah,
honest.
I
Don't
don't,
send
I
that
don't
message
think that
to
any
men
guy
out
would
there.
want to be
That's
that.
kind of-
This is it. This is what's going on.
So you're saying
guy
to
knowing
me,
he doesn't get sex?
So
This
you're
is
saying
what's
to me,
going on.
You don't want to
No.
be that guy with the flowers. It's best to just
Right.
get in line. That's not
No,
a good
no.
you don't
no,
want to
the
be
opposite.
You
He's
don't want to
saying-
be anybody in that line.
He's giving you an internal critique. He's saying, look, there are men out there who want to follow virtues, and they want to follow a Christian ethic, or maybe a Muslim ethic, or maybe some other Abrahamic religious ethic. The last thing that they want is to be made fools of by having a woman who claims that they're suddenly pious, and they're just utilizing them and utilizing the religion as a mask.
Yeah.
So that they can basically protect themselves from the ridicule that would normally come with their promiscuous past. And that's what we're seeing a rise in. So from the secularist perspective and Brian's perspective, the logic here is really sound. He's saying, like, look, if you're willing to have sex with all of these men, why, and then suddenly you're a chaste Christian, don't you think that should throw up red flags for other men that perhaps you're just utilizing this as a cloak in order to hide from your promiscuous past? And I think that that's a totally valid criticism, and one which women in the Christian church, and Christian churches anyway, especially Protestant churches, have been really pushing on men. Oh, she's reformed. It's okay. but I mostly see this from women. I don't see this from men who basically they don't want to marry reformed prostitutes. And
I'm
why would you
honestly
blame
not even
them?
talking about like
I don't blame
that
them. I don't
necessarily
blame
at all.
them
This
for
is
that.
it's going down the whole point was just like from the get go for girls to just be like
Wait,
more
now your mic
more
is tilted up.
choosy about being like so
Sure.
quick to sleep with people. That's really just like
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
that's it.
I have a couple really quick on the whole waiting for
Yeah,
sex
but
thing.
there's entailments here, though, right? Is like the problem is that the one thing leads to the other thing leads to the other thing. So it's like it's nice to say, women should be more choosy, but you were saying, earlier, well, they should wait at least a month. But even that within the Christian ethic is incorrect. And then I heard Blue Cross say, hey, look, that's not the right kind of man then if he doesn't want to marry a reformed prostitute. Well, wait a second. I mean, that's the wrong kind of woman, right? He's the right kind of man. She's the wrong kind of woman. Isn't that the right way to phrase that?
So you're saying the right kind of man is the type that want
Various
doesn't want
crazy people donated $69. Why invest time, money and resources to a disinterested woman when you know she has given it up to someone else on the first date?
No one is making
just
you
not
do
that
I
that.
into
think you
you.
said it
I think
best
she's just-
yourself. A disinterested woman. Just go pursue women who are interested in you,
I think it's disheartened.
Yeah, I mean, my advice is
right?
find another one.
what?
Yeah, no one's making you do that.
This is my point, right? It's like, from their perspective, how can you even blame them? If they're like, oh, well, now suddenly
I don't
you
think
put
anyone's
cross on and you're a
blaming.
Christian,
No.
At
but you
all.
were humping everything that moved just a couple of years ago, right? Doesn't that seem, from the perspective of especially secular men, that would be like the most enormous red flag I could think of, right?
From secular men, yes.
I'm not a secular man.
But even from Christian men, why shouldn't that be a red flag from Christian men that you have a highly promiscuous
I mean,
past?
hopefully
Why would
that's
that
not the
be?
only thing that they know about the person. There's also other
Yeah.
things that come with the person.
Yeah.
You would
I think you if you want to pursue a woman with a past that has been reformed, then that ultimately you're gonna know that. You're gonna know if that is a person that you want to try and date, and if that comes with that, that ultimately that's your
Well,
choice.
then, sure. But let me ask you this then, to kind of expand on Brian's point. Your future daughter, Cindy Lou, okay, comes over, and or you know what? Let's do this even easier. Let's say your little son Jack comes over to you at 19 years old, and all things equal, Jack has the choice between two women. They both adore him. They're both beautiful. They both have what you would consider to be great virtues. But one of them had a past that was highly promiscuous and the other one does not. Which one would you want Jack to end up with?
Well, are you asking me? Because
Yeah.
my personal opinion, like what I would say is whichever one he felt like he wanted to pursue, and whichever
Yeah,
one.
but he says,
but-
Mom, I can't decide. They both adore
Then
me.
neither.
And I like them. I like
If you
them
can't
both.
decide
I
who
like
you
them-
want to
I like
pursue,
them
then
both.
neither.
Right?
How
They're both pursuing me with rigor, right? If you had to make
I
this
think it'd be
decision-
it better.
Hang on, let me finish the question. I just
Your
let you
question
answer.
doesn't make sense. No.
I'll help
It
out.
does. It does. Hang on. It does make sense, right? So the question is that if they have the same current virtue but not the same past, wouldn't you recommend that your son move for the one that has the same virtue as the other, but without all of the bear down of the past?
I don't believe that the past has any relevance to the current.
Yes,
I
it
just
does.
don't understand
Hold
why
on,
I definitely
but hold
think
on.
that it does.
Just to answer his question, he's
his
asking you. Just actually try to engage with.
Well,
it.
that's
Hold on, wait.
insane. What do you mean
How-
the past has no relevance? So
We'll get to that. Wait,
if she
Andrew.
was a felon that had no relevance. If you know,
Well, I married a
if she
potential
blew
felon,
100
so-
guys, if she blew 100 guys in a month-long blow dick affair, right? She had a blow dickathon, and
is
she
that
blew
what it's called?
100 guys.
A blowy-a-thon?
That would have no relevance to you whatsoever. Really? Go ahead, tell me with a straight face that you're not lying to me.
No.
Tell me with a straight face that would have no relevancy to you whatsoever.
No.
No, you do think that.
You're
Because,
full of
there's-
shit.
There's
Bullshit.
consequences.
Who the
this
fuck
about
would,
the
who would ever
dickathon?
believe you that would mean nothing to
No.
you for little Jack? You'd be
I-
like, Jack,
There's no
don't worry
way.
about it. Sure, she sucked 100 dicks in a blow
He's just
dickathon.
being
Move past it. Leave the
How
other
do you get
shit,
invited
you
to
know.
the dickathon? Hold on.
Because this stemmed from like the advice to have girls wait and be less promiscuous.
Well, and then he
How
was
is this
talking to me
stemming-
about
Okay,
it,
hold on.
about my past.
I do actually want to see if we can get an answer to Andrew's question. If you had to counsel your son, which do you pick?
Well, I mean, as a mom, I'm sure I would prefer the one that was less promiscuous, but I truly believe that people can be reformed. People can separate themselves from their past and start
Sure.
anew. And that's from my own experience, and that's from my husband's experience.
We're
so
we're not doubting that people
that
can be
is
reformed.
that's what I base my answer off of.
Yeah, but nobody's doubting that Reformation is not only possible, but is key to the Christian ethic. But that does not erase your previous deeds. It does not erase your past, that just because you have been redeemed, the past no longer exists. For instance, you would agree with me that a murderer who horribly murdered people could be redeemed by Christ, right?
Yeah, of course.
Are we going to just suddenly forget that he murdered people?
You don't forget. You don't forget. Okay, about the past.
No, it
but,
matters.
But it is forgiven, and so when you
I didn't say it's not forgiven. I said it matters. That's the point, is that it matters. It's not that it's an equal thing across the board. That murderers still took people, loved ones away from families. They still did
So
horrible
let me ask
things.
you, Andrew, why does it matter to you so much?
That a person has a past, because
Why
I would
does it
want to
matter
see
to
my
you?
Various
children.
crazy
if I had to
people
counsel-
donated $69. Jesus forgives your past, men don't.
I got something here. So look,
Because if I had to counsel my children, to answer your question directly, of course I'm going to counsel them to go with the person who has the higher virtue without the past, because it shows a pattern of behavior that they've always moved towards virtue. It shows a pattern of behavior that they've always moved inside of that field of view. And so I'm not going to just dismiss a person's past behavior because their head was dunked in holy water and they say, now I've been saved. Christianity is a lifelong process. That's what theosis is. Your past is not suddenly erased. Mine isn't, yours isn't, nobody's is. That's why. And not only is that logical and consistent, but that's within the ethic itself as well. Redemption without works is no type of redemption at all. You could take a lifetime to really repent for the horrible things that you did, like St. Mary of Egypt, for instance, who was a sex worker, promiscuous prostitute, spent the rest of her life in seclusion in repentance. That's the type of thing that is redemption, not I got my head dunked and now my past is erased. That's insanity.
Well, are you?
wait, hold on. Question here. So, okay, do you think a man is wrong for not being willing to date a woman who perhaps she's changed, she's been redeemed, but despite this, she still has a past? Do you think a man is wrong for not wanting to date her because of her past?
Absolutely not. I don't think
so
he
then
would
what are
be
we
wrong
arguing
at all.
about
That's
then?
why I'm confused because well, I want to know why it's so important to Andrew. Because if you look at the fruit of a
just told
person's
you.
current life, if you look at the fruit of the Spirit, and you see that someone is
So then you do object to a man not wanting to date a woman with a past.
Wait a second. You would you couldn't judge the fruit. You would have to ask your husband, right?
This is not a productive word.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just want to know why it is that you wouldn't give a woman that has a past, a chance if she was trying to be different. Or
I didn't say I wouldn't give him a chance. I didn't say that I would
Okay.
not.
Yeah, that was me.
I would not. Hang on. I didn't say that I would not adhere to the Christian ethic. What I said specifically is that if I was going to counsel my children, which is the question that I asked you, and they were to come to me and say that a person had a very highly promiscuous past, they had had sex with tons of people, and last week or a year ago, they got their head dunked in what they perceived to be some holy water from the local heresy Protestant church, and then said, hey, I'm reformed, look at me, everything's okay now, that I'm going to counsel them against that. And I'm going to tell them, no, that's not the fruits. Fruits are seen through works. That's how you see what the fruit is. Otherwise, how could you ever determine what the fruits are? In this particular case, here's what the fruits are. She was a prostitute, or she was a loose woman. And in any case, this is counseled both ways in the Bible against both types of women, easy women and prostitutes. So yeah, it's going to take a little more than, I just got baptized last week, last year,
Yeah, of
before I
course.
give my blessing to my kid to marry somebody like that.
I have
And
a
I would think that
question.
you would counsel them the same way. Your past is not just erased.
And I don't say that that's wrong, and I don't say that men should feel obligated to date a woman if they're uncomfortable with their past, whether their present life is like that or not. I don't think that should be held against them. Because
Yeah, but this is the wrong way to look at it. This is why we keep arguing, right? Because I'm saying
She just
they
said there's no
shouldn't. I'm saying that my advice would be you should not do that. Just because they're reformed and Christ has forgiven them doesn't mean it's a good idea for you to marry a former prostitute or a former promiscuous woman. Just because Christ has forgiven them, that's great.
then
That's
how would
the
you
path.
how would you preach that to a current prostitute? Tell me.
I would tell them you're going to have to live with what you did, just like I would
David
tell a man.
Tozechian donated $69. Andrew, your point about women hiding behind religion is valid. Your favorite logical fallacies are Marlborough red herrings, straw man, and false dilemma. If a woman can prove she's reformed, may.
Andrew, you were
Yeah,
about.
what does that even mean? So anyway,
Oh, wait, sorry.
Various crazy people donated $69. Born again Christian here. Former psycho, man in the forest essay artist, serial killer, axe murder. But you have to excuse my past. Dumb.
that is dumb. But back to this, back to your point, because it's important. Your question was asking me about forgiveness. Yes, of course it can be forgiven. They should be forgiven. And you ask me, well, wait a second. What would you say? I would say the same thing I would say to a man. You have to take accountability for what you did. That's part of the fruits you bear is accountability, especially under Christian ethics. That's what humbleness is about, is part of accountability. I wish I would see more reformed prostitutes who went over to the Christian ethic, who said, I'm accountable for everything I did, and I'm going to spend my life making sure that all these wrongs I did were righted. But they don't do that.
Well,
They go,
I think that's
well,
what-
I did these horrible wrongs, but now I'm saved. Don't judge me.
We're disagreeing because you're talking about women that weren't actually born again, and I'm talking about women that were.
Exactly.
No, you're not. We're talking about the same type of woman. You think, for instance, a porn star tomorrow could go to your church, whichever one it is that you go to, and the pastor could dunk her, she's saved, right?
No,
No.
you can't just say that you're saved. You can't. I could say that I'm a freaking
Yeah, okay, she gave
hippopotamus,
her
but I'm
heart
not a
to Jesus. I'm
hippopotamus.
sorry. She comes in, she says, she throws herself down, she says, Lord, forgive me. He dunks her, okay?
These
now she's
actions
saved,
doesn't
right?
equate
She
to being
has been saved. Is that wrong?
She would know that because she would accept Holy Spirit into her life.
Right, sure. Okay, so she
Truthfully.
knows
And so
that
the
she's
only
been
way
saved.
done that-
the only way another
Then-
person can know is by the fruit. That is the
That's
only way
right.
another
The
person
only way
can
another
know.
person could know.
You'll know
is by
before
the
the
fruit.
fruit comes out, but
Yeah, but how do
other
you
people
know?
won't know until you see
How
the
would
fruit
you
of
judge
that.
a woman
Okay, so the
who
pro-
spent
the-
20 years
the-
blowing men? What fruit does she need to produce?
The ex-prostitute would feel
Ask me in 20
after you
years.
receiving the Holy Spirit an immense amount of shame. First and foremost, you would feel conviction in your heart for the first time, and that conviction would prompt you to listen. You can laugh all you want, but this is
To do
just the way
what?
it is.
It would prompt
It
them
would
to do
prompt
what?
you to want to change, reform, and take ownership and accountability for that past. However,
I see. So for instance, if I could tell you that there's a former porn star who exists right this second, who's been sitting literally right where you're sitting right this second, literally been sitting there.
Yeah.
And she went and she got dunked at heresychurch.com.
Being
and she went on
baptized doesn't
a
make you
publicity tour with her testament, her testimonial to the world about how she has been reformed by Christianity. Okay, you would say that this has not been enough time given for us to really judge the fruits, right?
No, I think that telling your testimony and making a public, I guess, proclamation about your past and owning up to it and actively speaking about that testimony in front of people, in front of an audience, or you're saying this person is like, okay, talking in front of an audience. I think that would be considered fruit. right?
Now,
That would be-
I wouldn't. I would
that would be
consider.
good.
I
Even
would
listening.
consider that a person
I like I like stone fruits.
just
mangoes.
rolling
yeah.
through with your
I love a
testament,
good
your
mango.
testimony
Do you like
doesn't mean
plums?
anything. That what
I love
means
peaches.
something is what you actually
fruit is actions.
do.
Fruit is
what
actions.
you. Well, okay, but here's the fruits. The fruits are a lot more attention
I'm
for
hungry
you,
now.
and
Fuck.
now a shield and a cloak from criticism using Christianity as your shield. I would say that I would like to see women like this who reform actually give their life to making compensation towards those that they horrifically wronged, and I don't ever see that, ever.
Based.
Yeah.
How about this? So
I
women.
completely agree with you. I
Hold on.
completely agree
so,
with you.
So women can change and be redeemed, but men are not obliged to then disregard their baggage and marry them.
Nope, they're not.
These are compatible.
No, and I
It's
think
compatible.
that's part of the works that Andrew is talking about. It's going to take work for you to earn the trust from a man when you have that type of past. And so
Yeah.
I completely agree with that.
Which is why you encourage girls
Carnal
to
knowledge.
pursue the highest form of purity.
Damn, she's far as fuck from the mic right now.
I think
Holy
everyone
shit.
is entitled to have their preferences when
For shizzle.
it comes to dating.